While the death list survivor seems like the obvious candidate for banishment, will they get a reprieve as a traitor plans to double-cross their own? Donna was being very laser focused on the idea that whoever survived the death list was a traitor. So focused on this theory, Donna said that the surviving player was who she was writing down as her banishment vote, and that if that person wasn't a traitor, everyone should vote her out for banishment the next night. Quite a move to be so heavily confident on the theory based on not a lot. While Donna wasn't necessarily the only one who thought of that theory, she was the only one who believed with enough conviction to put herself on the line. The continual chatter of the theory a traitor put themselves on the death list can potentially work out well for the traitors. There is one exception who thinks the opposite. Stephen doesn't think there was a single traitor on the death list and sees through the distraction tactic. Funny thing was that he was telling his theory to Mike and Whitney at the breakfast table. Out of Brianna and Noel, Brianna was murdered. Even though getting rid of Brianna was the better move, I wanted the absolute chaos that murdering Noel would have brought. Not only because the Faithfuls would have to reevaluate who they thought was a traitor, but also Brianna's chaotic roundtable events. Brianna's chaos will be missed. Noel tried to use logic to help defend himself, saying the exact scenario that played out, hoping they would see that putting 3 Faithfuls on the death list would be in the traitor's best interest. The 3 fought against each other. Andrew was banished, Brianna was murdered, and Noel is left with suspicion over him and an odds-on name for banishment. The Shield returned after a little hiatus, the fastest team to rescue their teammate winning the Shield. Kat, Donna, Jane and Mark's team won the Shield, but there was a twist. There was only 2 Shields actually available, and by the sounds of it, Kat and Donna will be taking it, with the hope that no one tells the others who has it. One small problem with that plan, with Jane being a traitor. Mike started to pull people aside to start plotting against Whitney, using Whitney's performance in the previous mission where she mistook a lung as a foot to question her occupation. It was interesting to see him use that to sow seeds of doubt, rather than just saying outright he thinks Whitney's a traitor. If she's possibly lying about her occupation, then she could be lying about being a faithful. In my video about episode 4, I wondered if Mike would have a discussion with Brittany to help get numbers in his plan to get Whitney banished. Mike did have that conversation with Brittany. I think it would have been pretty evident that Brittany would at some point circle back to her suspicions about Whitney, and it was going to happen in this episode. Having heard that her name was doing the rounds, Whitney started pulling people aside to try and get in front of the heat that she was feeling, and with some, keep Noel's name in their thoughts. Going into the round table, it was pretty clear that most votes were going to be for either Noel or Whitney, and I thought the Faithfuls were going to be banishing one of their own, but that wasn't the case. Mike started the round table proceedings. I initially thought Mike played his hand too early. There was too much heat and unresolved suspicion against Noel that I thought with so many looking in Noel's direction, Mike wouldn't get the numbers against Whitney. But Mike somehow did. Mike seemed to convince a few people who I thought were going to vote for Noel. Boy, was I surprised by Ciali's vote. He's been pretty clear about his suspicions of Noel, so I was fully expecting Ciali to vote for Noel for the 3rd time. Instead, Ciali voted for Whitney. Then Jane surprised me by also voting for Whitney. Mike's move came as a surprise to Jane, and she would have weighed out her options by sensing if it looked like enough were going to vote for Whitney. Mike did get the numbers with twice as many votes for Whitney than there was for Noel. Seriously, how many lives does Noel have in this game? Just when you think he's a dead cert for banishment, someone else gets banished instead. Stephen was the only one that didn't vote for either Noel or Whitney, instead casting his vote for Mark. From being close to banishment in the first vote, Mark has escaped being heavily suspected. I think Jackie's banishment has helped him stay longer in the game, but I wonder if the traitors will see that he's no longer a suspect and murder him soon. With Whitney now banished, other than Mike's double cross, I think there was another key factor that was detrimental to Whitney's game, being too close to Jackie. Knowing that the plan was to use Jackie as bait, Whitney shouldn't have tied herself so much to Jackie. They kept going round like a double act, planting things about Brittany and Mark, which obviously didn't work with Brittany and Mark still in the game, and Jackie and now Whitney banished. Also, Whitney was weary of Brittany early on, and her paranoia was proved correct, as she helped get her banished. If anyone was paying attention to Mike's facial expressions, then they would notice it wasn't very expressive. There didn't seem to be an excitement or relief, more like, there it is, when Whitney revealed her role. That hug between Mike and Jane wouldn't have helped much either, and prepared us for an awkward conclave meeting. Jane would need to think very carefully about how she plays the game going forward and watch her back, because Mike is playing Jane. Telling Jane that Whitney tried to form an alliance with him. Don't they say it's the quiet ones you should keep an eye on? And he had been quiet at the beginning. Mike has just stepped up a notch and taken this to the next level. Jane did say in episode 1 something on the lines of being able to smell BS. I wonder if what Mike said reeks of it for her.